Hello and welcome to this third episode of my knitting podcast. I can't believe I made it to 3 episodes. It's not a lot, but I thought I would maybe do 1 or 2 and then would be done with it. But I really like doing it, so I'm just gonna continue. My name is Irma. I'm Wolwerkjes on Ravelry and Instagram if you want to find me there. And I'm here to talk about my knitting with you. Not that much knitting this week, but just let me show what I have for you this week. First, I want to show you my finished objects. But I can't. Yeah, I can show a picture. I will put in a picture here. I finished my evja mittens. They're by Skeindeer knits, and I really liked how they worked out. They were for my mom, so I already gave them to her. I finished them when I was editing this podcast, last podcast, so otherwise she had to wait 2 weeks before she would get them. So that's why I already gifted to her, and she really likes them. They were fun to knit, and I don't have that much else to tell about it. I can tell you which yarn I used. I used Navia Duo. And I will put the colors on the screen. And that is my only finished object of this week. But I started new objects. So we're going to works in progress. I started 2 new projects. One of them is my October sock, which I started quite late. In October, only the 17th. I'm not that far yet. And I'm really not sure if I'm gonna finish them within the month. I do hope so, because I did it whole year. I started and finished a pair of socks each month, so it would be a shame if I couldn't now. But we will see. This is how far I've got. Last few episodes I was talking about toe up or cuff down, and I did cuff down again because I like the edge of the cuff better when I do cuff down. This pattern is called Business Casual, and it's by Tennis Lavelli, Tennis Fiber Arts. On Ravelry. It's a free pattern, and it's using cables, little mini cables, to make kind of squares in your sock with a little structure. Really nice. The yarn is Lana Grossa Magico 2, I think they call it. The colorway is just a number. I will put it on the screen. I do like the colors. They're quite subtle, not really in your face. That's okay. What I don't like about the yarn, and I bought it free through internet, so I couldn't see it when I was in the store or something. I don't know if you can see it now, but it's a single with nylon, so it's sturdy. I can't rip it apart that easily. So it's sturdy enough for socks, but for some reason I don't really like socks out of single yarns. And what I really don't like is with the cabling, it's really fluffy because it's a single ply. Some people say single ply, I just call it a single. Because it's that fluffy, it's really hard to see your stitches when you're switching them and things. So I don't think I will buy this yarn again. I was first thinking just throwing away everything and start over with other yarn, but I will finish it. It would be a waste to throw it away, but it was quite annoying. I know that now when I'm a little further, I'm getting used to it, but it was quite irritating when I started. But that's my socks for this month. I hope I can finish them. I'm not sure. I really have to knit fast. I am lucky though that I don't have that big feet. I have quite small feet, and I don't like socks going up high on my leg, so I will just knit them with a little leg and be done with it. I don't know if I will finish them. Another new work in progress, and some of you might, who saw the last few episodes, might know what it is. It is my sheep shawl. And I'll just get it out of the bag. It's a pattern, you can find it on, I think it's as sheep shawl, you can find it on Ravelry. It's by Marja the Haan. And this is how far I have got. I can only show the height because you knit it in the round. Oh, I'm dropping stitches. So you knit it in the round. So that's nice with color work, so you don't have to purl, you only do knit stitches. And you cut it open when you have the right depth of the shawl. And that's how it's constructed, but that's why I can't show you how wide it is now. I can only show you the height, and I got quite a few centimeters done. 3 repeats, I'm on my 3rd repeat of sheep, and I really like how the sheep look. They're so cute. The pattern is quite easy. I'm not gonna give away every detail because it's a page for pattern. It's also in the book Euland Knitting, Euland Breien. And the main thing is, of course, the construction, which is not that new, but I won't tell you about how the increases are and things. And of course the chart for the sheep is her design. I'm using hillesvåg yarn, and I use 4 colors hillesvåg and 1 color of Arctic Yarns, which is a hand-dyed company, and that is this bright pink color, and all the other colors are hillesvåg colors. I was in doubt when I finished my 5th color if I should make a hard color change back to the dark red or keep the fade going and going back to purple and then to the red, and I chose the last thing. As you can see, I'm going back through purple and then finishing the red because it's fading so nicely. I didn't want to interrupt it, and I will get a big band of red and pink after a few more centimeters. So I think all the colors will be shown equally in the finished object. I really like working on it. I had to force myself to put it down, otherwise this would be the only thing I had to show. But it's really nice to work on. Another work in progress. I have 2 more works in progress, which are older projects I've been working on. And one of the projects I started working on again is my Malfoy manor wrapper. One of the reasons is I just want to finish it and want to wear it, and I really want to start another garment for myself. And it's my only lace pattern at this moment, and I really wanted to knit some lace. It's a hard pattern to show you. I've done in my first episode, so if you want to see or know a little bit more about it, you can go back to that episode. It's wrapper, so it's only covering your arms and the top part of your back, and it's in this nice lace pattern. You knit it in the width, so 1 piece. You start at the back and you increase for the arms, and when you have the full arm width you knit a bit and then you start shaping the front. So this is the is this right? No. This is the back piece. and then you increase for the arms, and I finished one side of the garment. So I did this whole sleeve and the shaping of the front. Over here, this it will close up high, and this is the part that's gonna be in the front where you close it with the other side. And the other half I'm still working on, and oh, it's so annoying piece to show. I'm still working on this side, and all those stitch markers you hear wrinkling, and you can see all the stitch markers and a bunch over here are all decreases I still have to do. So that's quite some work, but it's not really difficult lace, especially when you've worked this much on it. You know the repeat, you don't have to look it up every time. And it's decreasing now. And I like decreasing because every round is going faster than the one before. So I think maybe I can finish the main part of this cardigan for next episode, and maybe I only have to work a little bit on the edging, so the edging for the arms and the collar and those kind of things. But I think it would be nice to have the big part of knitting done so I can start wearing it. I really like the color. It's a kind of dark bluish color. I used Katja concept yarn, silky lace. I don't know why they call it lace, because I think it's a fingering weight yarn. It's a single, and it's quite highly twisted, so I don't have issues with the yarn splitting or anything. And it's really soft. So I'm really excited to get this one done, because it's been on the needles since July, I think. No, not really. I think it was earlier. I think it was May maybe. But I had to rip back because I wasn't good in reading the lace pattern yet, and I just had done, I think, 3 centimeters or something. Not even an inch. And I couldn't find out where I was in the lace pattern, and I was thinking, okay, this is gonna take me so much time to find out where I was in the pattern. I will just start over. And I think I had to start over 5 or 6 more times by then to make it right and to get a repeat right, because you have to start increasing quite soon. So you're not really into the pattern yet, and you have to increase, so you have to start on a different point in the repeat. So that was quite some work, but now it's really easy and nice to knit on. So I hope I will be done with it within 2 weeks, at least the big knitting part, the blocking. So that's that, and I only have one project I have been working on, and it's also a project I have already shown you once, and it is my Cozy Memories blanket, but I haven't added any squares. I ripped the whole thing back and started over because I was not content with how it looked. Now it's looking like this. I started over, and I have now knitted my first 3 squares again. It's the 3rd time, to be honest, because the first time I cast it on with a long tail cast on, or an old Norwegian cast on, which is also a long tail cast on, only a little bit different. And then I was noticing that with adding squares, because you're adding squares in this direction and afterwards in this direction, it wasn't easy to work with a long tail cast on. So I changed it to a cable cast on, which worked really well with adding the squares, but I had a problem that my cast on is always a little bit tight, so those squares were like really stiff on the sides while they were stretchy at the other 2 sides. And I was thinking, then when I continue this, I will get a blanket with 2 quite coarse sides and 2 really stretchy sides, and I wouldn't like that. So I ripped back. I think I had 8 or 9 squares already. I ripped them all back and I started over, and now I did a knitted cast on. Some people find it too loose, but it's just flexible enough to make it evenly stretchy in all directions, and I really like that. So I won't have the issue with having 2 tighter sides and 2 elastic sides. I'm on my 4th square now. If you want to see all the colors I've used, you have to watch my first episode, I think. I showed all the colors I had, and in episode 2 I showed the colors I added afterwards. But I really like it, and I also changed the way I decreased in the center. I don't know if you can see, but I did a double center decrease and you get this nice line in your squares. It's not really good for the yarn to rip it back 3 times and re-knit it, but after blocking and laying around for maybe years, because it will take a long time to make this a big blanket, it will be fine. So that was my last work in progress. For future knitting, I have some new plans, not that much. All the plans I already had are still there, so I still want to knit the Ginny cardigan, and I still want to knit the mittens by Skeindeer. For more details about the Ginny cardigan, watch back. The Marit mittens, if you want more information about it, watch Skeindeer Knit. The only thing I'm a little bit searching out is which colors I'm gonna use for those mittens and which yarn I'm gonna use. I'm kind of thinking knitting them out of my own yarn, my own hand-dyed yarn. I didn't mention in the beginning I have my own hand-dyeing business, and I think I should be using my own yarn more. It's really hard to use it because it's my business and I don't want to use it private, but I think it's good to use my own yarn as well. I really like my own colors because I make them, so I think I should use them more, and maybe I will use them in the Marit mittens, but I'm not sure yet. Another project I really liked is by Fiber Tales. She also has a podcast. She is from Denmark, and I really find it hard to pronounce her name, but I think it's Lerge. And she designed a cardigan. I think it's called Fjer. It means feather, and in Dutch it's veer, so it's quite similar. And it's a cardigan with a really nice detail on the sides, and really different than the garments I own now. So I think that will maybe be a cast on, but I don't have yarn yet, or I don't know, maybe I will use my own yarn for that as well, but I don't know which color I want to knit it out. I think it's really nice. The color she has is like a really neutral, creamy, beige, grayish color, really light, and I think it combines with a lot of other things. So I think I shouldn't knit it in a really bright color or something, so I'll have to figure that one out. I haven't bought the pattern yet, but I really like it's growing on me. The first time I saw it I was like, I'm not sure. It's cropped and it's boxy and I don't know, but the more I looked at it and the more she explained about it, about the pattern in her podcast and how you can modify it, it's really growing on me, and I think I would really like to knit it one. So that's that. I promised, my first episode, I promised to talk a little bit more about a new yarn base I'm going to use. I have a little sample over here. You can't really see much about it. It's a non-superwash yarn and it's a Corriedale yarn. And it's non-superwash, it has no nylon, but still it's really good yarn to knit socks with. It's a, I think it's, let me see if I can show you. It's 2 plies, can you see that? But really high twisted, so that makes it a lot more sturdy than when you twist the yarn loosely. It makes it a little bit less puffy, but puffy enough to make your stitches really nice. And I dyed one new color I made on this yarn, and it's this one. I don't know, let me show you. It's this color. It's really hard. I made pictures. I posted them on Instagram. And also here it's really blowing out on pictures and camera. So it's really hard to show the color. It's a light orangey, peachy color with brown grayish accents, and some of the yarn I kept undyed. So there are also really light spots in here, and I put some green, blue and red details in it, so it's not all plain, it's also got some nice colored details, and I really like it. I don't have a name yet for this base as well as the color, so I'm still thinking about it, and when I know those names I will put it in my shop. I also dyed this color on another new base, and that is this one, and here you can see a little bit better the color details, and it's funny how colors get so different on different yarns. This is a DK base and it's 100% merino, and it's also a non-superwash. I really like non-superwash yarns. I do use some superwash sometimes for the right purpose. I like it, but I also really like non-superwash yarns. And I also don't have a name for this base yet. It's really squishy, and it's also a 2-ply, and I really like it. I think this will maybe be the yarn I'm going to use myself as well. I really like it. So I wanted to show you that. I don't have anything. Oh, I have one more thing to show you. Maybe you already have seen here in the back. I do own a knitting machine, a straight knitting machine. It's a second-hand one I bought, and in the beginning I really had issues with getting it working right. There was also a crooked needle on it which I didn't notice, and I haven't used a knitting machine before, so I was really struggling with, is it the machine that isn't working or is it me that is doing it wrong? But I'm getting better at it. I put it away for a few months, and now I took it out again last week, somewhere in this week, and I knitted a back piece for a sweater on it. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I don't have a ribber for my knitting machine, so I can't knit ribbing, purl stitches. I can't knit purl stitches on my machine, so I did a folded hem, which I really like how it turned out. And I striped some yarns, and for the upper part I did also a folded collar, I think you call it, and I did some short row shaping, so it's a little bit curved, and I really liked how it turned out. And I know some people don't like knitting machines. I don't think I will use it for everything because it's really a different skill. But I do like it for easy pattern. I didn't use a pattern for this. It's quite easy to just go with it on those machines. and you get a really even stitch. That's really nice. Because I don't have a ribber, you always have to work in pieces. I can't knit in the round. When I have a ribber, you can knit in the round. You can knit in the round. But I think it's nice. And one of the main misunderstandings about a knitting machine is you really do have to know how to knit to use it, because it's only, some people say it's only moving something from left to right and back, but when it goes right, it's true, you only have to do that. But those machines aren't really user-friendly in the way it's easy to make a mistake. And when you make a mistake, you really do have to know how a knitted fabric works when you want to fix it. And if you don't know that, you really have to start all over again. And when you have to start all over again every time you make a mistake, it doesn't win you any time. The parts that take the most time is the binding off. Casting on is quite easy, but binding off is hard, and the folding over the cuff and the bottom part. That's taking the most time. And somewhere I dropped all my stitches because I did something wrong. I didn't put my stitches on hold when I wanted to move the moving thing. I don't even know the names of the parts. And all my stitches were off the machine. And I had to put them all back on. And it's not like just putting the stitches back on, because it's quite tight. You have to put the stitches back on from a few rows before. And then ripping back, and I managed to do it. I don't think anyone can see where it happened. So I think I did a good job. But it's really nice to work with it. I only have to wait for a new part, because one of the parts that is holding the needles on its place is really old and damaged, so I needed a new part. It broke right after I finished this piece, so I'll have to wait for it. I'm not going to show you that much of my machine knitting, but as it's right over there and you can see it, I think it would be nice just to mention I have one and show it to you. And I will be honest with you when I've knitted something on a knitting machine, or if I knitted it by hand. And knitting by hand is really unstressing me, and it's something I really like to do. And the knitting machine is really being concentrated, so there are really two different things. What I forgot to mention at the beginning, so I will do it at the end, is what I am wearing. And this is the sock hat cowl. I don't know the designer, I will put it on the screen. And I knitted in this really lovely grey yarn from Manos del Uruguay by Manos del Uruguay. I can't say it. I can say it. I will put the name of the yarn at the bottom of the screen. It's a really nice hand-dyed yarn. It's kind of color blocking over here, but I don't mind. It's on my neck. It's not, when it would be in a sweater I would mind the color blocking, but for a cowl I don't mind. I really like it, and it's really soft. So that was everything I had to say for today. It was a kind of short episode, I think. I can't see the time on the screen. I think it was a short episode. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye!